So how's it going out there in the interwebs? It's pretty cold here. I don't know about you guys, but I've got a piece of wood on the lathe. I've got a piece of wood on the lathe, all right?
Right.
That's all that matters. I keep looking at the pictures of the other lathe that I'm getting, and then I go outside and I go and measure the really big pieces of wood that I've got, and I'm like, I won't need to cut that piece because it's got 16 inches between the center and the bed. So at least I could do like a 30-inch bowl or something like that.
Yeah.
I'll just do them every day now when I get that. Because I've got some tools here that I really cannot use on this lathe. Well, I most probably could, but just me. I'm really hanging to use this thing.
That's a monster.
Yeah, it's not even all of it. There's a handle down there.
Wow.
That's
a real deep howler.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's got a couple of different angles down there. 3 different angles. But I can't use that on this one for the simple fact that I just hit the wall. There's no room between the end of the handle and the shed for me to fit.
Oh, no.
Wait. All right. Start turning. Could just do some rock and roll dancing. That's still turning, isn't it? It's not specified. Do this every time. The handle is I just need to cut out a tiny little notch right here so the handle for the banjo can just slide across. Otherwise I have to turn this to get the handle past.
Yeah.
Have you been working on anything other than the pens?
Actually, I haven't been in the shop that much. Not since Sunday when we had the meeting, but did a little cleaning, and that was about it.
Are you too scared to go in there and make a mess now that you've cleaned?
Yeah. Well, I won't be able to find anything, so I can't make a mess.
I'll get my other shed. When I get my other shed and get it a bit organised, hopefully I can. I'm going to try and do the plastic over the tools.
Oh, okay. Yep. That's what I had to do. When did you get the other lathe?
At the end of August.
Oh, okay.
I haven't even got the other shed yet to put it in, so it'd just be sitting on a block of cement down in the open if I got it now.
Yeah, that would be good.
No. Did you see pictures of it? Did I show you pictures of the lathe, Jeff?
No, you didn't.
No. I'll send you a couple of photos of it. Doesn't no one on the interwebs has seen it yet. They can wait until I get it. It's 76 years old.
That's what you were saying the other day. Yeah.
So I should. I was a bit worried about some water getting in because where the shed's going, where the new shed's going. It's where the water kind of flows out of my backyard because the backyard's on a very slight lean, so the water runs off.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got Robbo made wooden extensions for it to raise the legs a little bit.
Oh, okay.
I was just a bit worried if the water got in, was it going to affect the wood? And he reckons no. So.
Huh.
Never find a picture when I need it.
Oh, isn't that always the way?
Yeah. Apparently it's not here now, apparently. Gotta love computers sometimes, don't you? Oh, I'll do it later. I can't find them. Ridiculous. Anyway, try and flatten this up a little bit. Robbo must have customers to be about the only reason he's doing it. How you going, Dr. Bob?
Good.
Hello,
How
Bob.
about you? Howdy.
Good, thank you.
The Jeff and Bob Show
Yeah.
Oh,
featuring Jay the Woodturner.
you can start now. Bob's here.
How you doing, Bob?
Oh, pretty good. Pretty good. Back to see the doctor Friday for
Yeah.
a quick visit. Get some news one way or another.
Right.
On your heart monitor.
Yeah, they got the numbers in, but They have to tell you what they are. They can't send it to you in a fax or a text. That's not good medical practice.
So are they gonna say, right, you should be in bed by 10 o'clock, not up doing something?
Oh, I'm not doing anything except sitting here and enjoying you and the friends you have.
Fine. You're fine. Just the guys. Well, they can't do that because of HEPA law too.
Yeah.
Does someone else want to come in, Jeff?
I have the foggiest.
Oh,
You know, you can make co-hosts now.
yeah.
That's a new feature that has been put in. So
Is it?
a co-host, that you can create a co-host and they have all the authority to manipulate the page, whatever is there. So you could be doing your wood turning and someone else could be letting people in and doing all that.
Yeah. That's what we do with Zoom in our meetings. Chuck and Matt do the co-host work, so I can concentrate on everything else.
Yeah, I don't know where that setting is, Dr. Bob, but I can't find it.
I don't have the advanced. I just have the standard, the freebie.
Yeah.
I know they just been talking about it in YouTube videos, how it's been released or will be over the next week and a half globally.
Yep.
Do you have to have the purchased version for that?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And he
Oh,
does because there's no duck in the corner.
Okay.
Yeah. I just pay $30 a month or something.
Hmm.
You can pay for a yearly, but it's not really something I can afford. So $30 a month
exactly.
is a bit more my speed.
So, Bob, I'm not sure we're going to get a swap meet in Saturday.
Uh-oh.
Got a 75% chance of rain all day.
Yeah, I saw that.
So, Chuck
It's
is.
still winter. We still got all the snow here.
Oh, we got nothing in Troy.
Oh,
We got nothing. I was shocked to see how much Metro Airport had.
I put up some online on my page. A pan of the front of the house I got, and there's snow everywhere.
Wow. Well, Chuck is trying to figure out if he can, if necessary, if he can move it till Sunday. But they're working them 7 days a week, and it's even got down to the point where our board meetings can only be the second Tuesday of every month, because that's the only Tuesday he has the evening off. Other than that, he goes home, he has dinner, or he's at home, but he has dinner, and then he goes right back to work running meetings. And we were going to test the meeting room feature last night, and I had a couple different people lined up, and Chuck sent me a text message about 15 minutes before we were supposed to start saying, I just got called in to host a meeting. So.
Well, I'm always available. I got nothing to do.
Well, this is something that I have no idea what it is he's trying to do. I was just going to be the test subject. So.
Well, supposedly in meeting rooms, you can actually set people aside.
Yeah.
And in essence, from what I understand from a YouTube video, I hate to say you learn more from that, but they were talking about meeting rooms that are being used by this weaver that is teaching loom weaving and patterns and that. And in doing so, she has people broken out. She does a bit of a talk, and then they break out with their mentor in the rooms. And then she can go and look at what's going on and be a guest in the room to watch what's going on, or she can pick someone else, a co-host, to do that.
Yeah.
To make sure that they're busy and active, and if they have any problems, and then combine rooms and bring them back together again.
Yeah.
And that would be perfect for, I think, for us for mentoring. So you have a demonstration, you make a widget. You have a
Well, the
guest,
big thing,
one of the members, and then you break up with people that have lays and someone who can work with them and talk them through it, be a
Yeah.
mentor that way in their own rooms,
yeah.
and then come
Well,
back in.
the big thing that Chuck wanted to use it for was these people that try to who sign into meetings and they don't change their name on
Yeah.
the display, and he can't communicate with them in the waiting room, so he wants to be able to move them over to the meeting room and chat with them. And that's what he was doing the other day with that DAW 2021. And, I
I
don't
was
know.
definitely a member. They wouldn't have known the 2021.
Right. That, or it's somebody that a member gave the link to, even though they weren't supposed to. And I don't think he ever got in. I don't, because I kept seeing his name popping up in the waiting room.
Don't know.
No.
Well, I've been playing with Ron's new tool,
Yeah.
and it took me about 20 minutes to do this.
Oh, nice.
Thank
Very
you, my
nice.
free right side up. Yeah, and it was fairly easy. And I didn't, this isn't deep enough for a spigot
Mm-hmm.
because it just barely fits the medallion height.
Yeah.
And I simply put this in a 125 chuck, just like you have.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I put it in and clamped it this way and did the hollowing and everything, and then turned it around and cleaned the back up, and then this is drilled in place. I
Okay.
have a Forstner bit I've cut the point off of. That was a real task, but that way
Yeah.
I don't end up with a little hole. And I know it's going to be centered because it's always between the tail stock and the head stock.
Right. I like that
So it
medallion.
Yeah, my sister, she does jewelry work, and every year when I go around Christmas, between Christmas and New Year's, or just before Thanksgiving, if not right after, they have the International Gem and Jewelry Show. They're
Okay.
outside of DC, where she's at,
Hmm.
and in one of the big convention halls. And you can get anything from anywhere in the world I'll have to dig up some pictures to show you. You won't believe it. It's like 200-foot long, 300-foot long tables that vendors set out with nothing but blue beads and orange beads, and they're by the pound, and metal and trinkets and jewelry like this, the Tree of Life.
Yeah.
That actually came as a pendant, but that clipped off and sands off easy. You'd
Mhm.
never know it, but
I have a friend
just-
with Muse Laser, and he was just learning it and everything. So the project I gave him is I had him make me about 50 medallions that say "Crafted by Jeff" with my web address on it. And I've used a couple of them, and I have to make some changes to my turning because I generally don't do mortises. I generally always do tenons. So I want to do some. I saw something the other day I thought was a great idea, and I think it was Gordon Rock did it, but he uses mortises all the time. But what he does is he just he cuts the mortise slot for the jaws. There's still a tenon in the inside of the mortise, so there's just enough of a slot for the jaws to fit in. And then when he's done, he just kind of tapers that down, and so it's just below the surface. And then he'll drill the tenon and put his medallion in, so it sets below the surface, but it's setting up from the bottom. So he's guaranteed of having enough thickness there. And so I'm going to experiment with that because my concern has always been the glue bleeding through on some types of wood.
Yeah, what I use, the black is magic marker
Uh-huh.
to give it the background, and I used black super glue. I just dried the black medium and put it up in a little like a T shape, and then sit it and press it down, and I've got a block that'll sit on top of that with a piece of wax paper
Mhm.
around the end of the block. And I'll just sit it there and let it dry. And I've never had a problem with it. And I put them in everything. Same thing with one I did that was a church pew.
Mhm.
And the church wants me to make, if I can get 50 of them out of the seat that they gave me, uh, I'll do that because I understand they're a donation of like $500 now towards a new church organ, and they get one.
Oh, okay.
But it's the original pew from the 1800s that was found between wall boards
Really?
when they were building the church out.
Wow.
And they know the time because along with it was a sign about the brothel or bar or whatever that
Mhm.
was there also as part of what they put in to make the walls stronger.
Right. You know those old
Yeah.
buildings. It's amazing when they when they renovate them. It's amazing what they find in the walls.
Yeah, yeah. It amazed me.
Yeah. There was one down in I think it was Mississippi, an old
Okay,
house.
Jay needs our attention.
Oh, what's up, Jay?
Oh, I was just going to say, this is that ghost gun piece that I was doing the other day.
Oh, okay.
I haven't finished doing the inside because this is a rust stain on the outside.
Okay. What was that black on the inside?
That's what color it's going to be. That's rust stained in there. I just put it in there to show Jamison the other day.
Okay.
The tannin inside the red wood makes the rust stain go black.
Okay.
Yeah, just for something different. And then the walls go like a grey kind of color.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. But this rust stain's also been sitting there like brewing away for about 6 months. So it's good.
Yeah. There's several woods that you can do it with here and use the steel wool and vinegar solution on.
Yeah.
I got a bottle of it.
Robbo was saying yesterday that American oak, has a lot of tannin in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we got two oaks here. We've got red oak and white oak.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And white oak, it has the same leaf, almost. I mean, the same maple leaf type. The oak leaf's the same, but the white oak, I understand, is from south of the Mason-Dixon, and it's not as strong.
It's a lot of open grain in the white oak.
Well, with all the rain and water they get, and actually no freezing in that, I could understand that.
Yeah.
I was told years ago it's wood that's in a varied climate, such as warm and cold. The grain is tighter together on those woods.
Yeah.
Though in Alaska, the wood that I had around me, it barely thawed out in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a lot of big old trees that the state had, and the boroughs. They don't have counties; they have what they call a borough, and you can have multiple cities within a borough, and a borough can have spider web type boundaries to pick up a few houses here, because a borough can supply your road service, mail to your house. It's a community in essence, and you have a community center somewhere, but people tend to want to live, 2 or 3 miles to 10 miles out of town. So they've when I was there, they wouldn't include them. It was just left open, but now they can extend boroughs that way to pick up a school a research station, and then depending on who pays for the research, they get taxes on it.
Hmm.
So I, yeah, when John gets on, I get a kick out of reminiscing. Can't help, I missed the place. I don't know if I would say honestly I'd missed the cold, but I would sure give it a try again.
Yeah.
I still got a winter parka from there here.
All right.
It's
That's
not
something we
well.
talked about. That's something we talked about
Yeah,
doing a cruise someday.
Oh, up the coast.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of fun. When I went up the first time, I drove up the Denali Highway,
Mhm.
and it was pretty good. I mean, I didn't have any problems. It was well graded and taken care of throughout Canada, and as soon as you get through the U.S. border, it kind of forks. One goes uh, down into Juneau. It's the only road that hits Juneau. And then the other road you can take, and it heads up farther, and it picks up another highway you tee off of, and Fairbanks and north. And at that time, it picked up the rest of the state along the border. Uh, they don't have a big highway complex.
Right.
They got more trails than and more airports than anything.
Yeah.
What struck me, and it made really good sense, is that in high school they taught flight. You get your pilot's license in high school.
That makes total sense up there.
Yeah, because a lot of the parents of the kids either own a plane or a piece of a plane.
Yeah. And in some areas, it's the only way to get around.
Oh, 90% of the state it's that way. So it's taught right in high school. And what got me when I first went up, it was fall, and I really wasn't you I thought I knew what winter was. uh, and it was really interesting getting used to the winter and the winter weather. And the first time you start hearing, you're listening to the radio in the morning as you're getting ready to go to work. Back when I was driving to work, they would say that, well, it's going to be 6, and it's going to be the high today. It's going up to 15.
Yeah.
And that, then when it really gets cold and you can't really drive, well, where I was, they didn't always get the road clear. So my neighbor, who was a musher and a fellow professor, he had a dog team, and he taught me how to handle a team, give me a sled and some dogs to take care of for it. And I didn't really like dogs until then. But you learn to take care of them, and I'd follow him on the back trail. The back of our property had a fairly good sized trail that headed right into the back of the campus, back by the gymnasium locker room building, and every faculty member and student has a dedicated locker room. It's big, the biggest locker room I've ever seen. Unless you've lived in a dorm on campus, you had a locker room there, but it wasn't as big. But you'd come in and you'd leave your sled, because the swimming team and a few others would take turns of taking the sleds as they come in. And all you had to do was tip the sled over, and if they knew you, that was fine. If not, they'd pick the number off the sled. They'd take the dogs and break them out of the lead and tie them up and chain them in a shelter, not indoors, but a shelter to keep the wind off, and leave the sled there. And you give a call down an hour before you were going to leave, and call them and say you wanted it such and such a time. You head back down because everything was underground tunnels
Hmm.
between buildings, uh, most of them, and they'd have your team ready to go. And of course, you'd tip them,
Yeah.
but they paid, the bill come out of your paycheck. That took you getting used to
Yeah.
a dog team to work.
Yeah. Well, my wife, she was born in Escanaba, and
Oh, yeah.
kindergarten, most kids get toys and stuff. They got snowshoes for Christmas. you know?
Yes, I'd used them in Idaho and Washington, Oregon, but I found they had a different type of weave in their snowshoe for the deep snow they had. And especially
Yeah.
you carried a heavier pack, so they were bigger.
Yeah.
But it's pretty good when you carry a 457 or a 10 gauge with the plug out.
Hmm.
You know what the plug is?
No. Oh,
Oh, by
for the
by
number of
federal
shells.
law.
The number of
Yes.
shells. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to have the plug in because they make a good bear gun.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things when you come across out of Canada or enter back into the US, they want to check your gun licenses, and if you got a shotgun, they give you notice that you have to have the plug in, and you're written up, and you've got to prove it somewhere, But usually before you left, you'd have it done by the
Yeah.
by the gunsmith. They just drop it in, and they had a little device that set it in place.
Hmm.
When will you know about Saturday, or we're just going to call it off and reschedule?
I'm waiting to hear from Chuck, which is always a scary thing. you
Yeah.
know. But he's been in contact with Don Doyle, so it may be Don Doyle making the call, and it may be, who knows, it may be Friday, when they make the call. And I said, just let me know, and I'll get the word out to everybody, and hope nobody shows up. Hopefully, people, if it does get canceled and people don't get the word, hopefully they'll be smart enough to realize that we're not going to have it if it's raining.
Yes.
But people will surprise you every single time.
Yeah, because it doesn't rain up there; it only rains down here, or vice versa.
Hmm.
But our weather is that crazy in the Detroit Metroplex.
Yeah.
To me, I've got used to it, but it was hard as a kid having a teacher in elementary school explain weather patterns and how the lakes affect it. And you always sit back when you're fifth grade, fourth grade, and say, "Yeah, sure. How can the lake affect weather?" But
Right.
How you going, Chris?
Yeah, I've got a sister that lives in Port Huron, and there's times during the winter we've got nothing going on here. It's bright and sunny, and they're getting 2, 3, 4 inches of snow.
yeah, my brother had a Methodist church there in St. Ignace, just off the bridge,
Mm-hmm.
for about 10 years. And I go up there, and this is before I ever been to Alaska. I'd go up and spend a week or two around Christmas time, or between, have Thanksgiving and then stay through Christmas and take off afterwards and visit my sister for a couple of weeks in Virginia. But it amazed me about how high the snow can get,
Yeah.
especially when you're close to the water. My brother's church overlooked Out one window was the bridge, and out the other window was the ferries that went across to the island.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd get a snow tunnel to get to the back door of the house.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard stories about that.
And fire code required that there be 2 exits clear. So you could have the fire department give you a ticket for not shoveling your snow. But that's where everyone's got a big monster snowblower.
Right.
The closer to the water, the more you need, the deeper it gets.
Yeah.
And his church in Parsonage was just barely 1 street or 2 streets off up the hill from the water. So what do you want, Riley? You're sitting there drooling. I don't know how dogs can turn that on and look pathetic and pitiful and drool.
They're experts at
I
it.
got a Rice Krispie treats and he loves it.
Well, that's the Pavlov effect.
Yeah. I got an orange sitting here, supposed to have fruit often. And he'll suck on the orange peel and spit it out, or chew on it and spit it out.
Really.
He gets a taste out of it and then he just spits it out.
Right.
Did you ever meet, was it Blackstone's, was it son? Lived in Grosse Pointe?
Harry Blackstone Jr.?
Harry Stone, yeah, Jr.
Yeah. Yeah, we were pals.
So was I with him.
Yeah. I did a show with him, as a matter of fact, and many years ago at the Abbott's Magic Get Together. This is back in the early '80s.
Yeah.
We were at the restaurant for lunch, and him and his wife Gay were sitting at the table next to us, and he's trying to eat, and people are shoving autograph books in his face, and he's trying to be polite. He said, "Just please back off, let me finish my lunch, and I'll sign all your autographs." And they're just sticking them in. So we left about the same time that he did, and I introduced myself to him. And I said, "Listen, why don't you and Gay join us tomorrow over at," I can't remember the name of the pub there, but I said, "They've got a back room. Let's get the back room, have a pizza and a couple beers, and it's on me." He says, "Okay." And we did that for every single year for many years. And just the nicest guy in the world. And
Oh, yes. I knew him because I lived above him.
okay.
I mean, directly above him. Well, it was an apartment complex, but they were big apartments. We had a 2-bedroom apartment above it. But we shared the same laundry room downstairs, and he had one half of that part of the basement, and we had the other half as a locker to store stuff in. And he'd have some of his tricks that he was still tinkering with and playing with, though he hadn't done much because he was having thrombophlebitis.
Ah. Yeah.
And that was a problem, so he didn't stand too long. He had to wear special nylons, compression socks.
Mm-hmm.
But he was always fun on Saturdays. And it was right on Jefferson Avenue, just in Grosse Pointe.
Okay.
Grosse Pointe Shores, it was. Grosse Pointe Shores.
So that's not far from the Fisher Mansion.
No, you could walk to it.
Yeah. Yeah. I used to go there a lot too.
Entertaining?
No, when I worked for NBD, we would get a call every once in a while. Chick Fisher was still the CEO, and we get a call from his office that his mother Grace was having problems with her phone. So my boss and I would hop in the car and head out there and try to trouble. It was an old square key.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Grace, you got to invest into a digital phone. No, I'm not going to. This has been fine for 50 years.
Oh,
And she would give us oatmeal cookies that were Eleanor Roosevelt's recipe. And she would,
oh,
and
yes.
and when you walked in the foyer, you couldn't see the paint on the wall for all the pictures. And there'd be
Right.
pictures there of the Roosevelts sitting on a patio with them, Ernest Hemingway, people like that.
Yep.
And when you walk to the main room, right right as you get in the door, there's a sofa there, and it's like a 1950s style sofa. And then the French doors that led out into the patio out on the other side of the house. And so when you're standing in the foyer and you look at these pictures of the Roosevelts, they're sitting on that couch. It was really cool place to go to. She had an elevator because her room was on the 4th floor. And she says, "You guys are young, you can take the stairs." So, so
Yeah, I have only been in there once.
Yep.
And that was with the woman I was dating and almost engaged to was the head librarian for Grosse Pointe.
mhm.
And her son I knew him in high school through Boy Scouts, but then I got to know some of the stuff that he wanted to do, and he went to, is it Adrian or Albion, one of the two, but he went off to college, and now he's living somewhere down south as a federal attorney.
Oh,
He was a
okay.
prosecutor. He'd become a federal attorney.
No, I used to like to go out there. I love Grace. She's a great lady.
Yeah,
And
Might
Charles
have met
Fisher
her.
Charles
But it
Fisher was one of only 2 CEOs I ever met that I had respect for, because they were people that cared about the people that worked for him.
that means so much.
Yeah.
They-
The other
I
one
don't
was
know,
Ross
they-
Perot.
they don't- Oh, yes.
Yeah, I loved Ross.
If you met Stan Kresge,
Yes.
he was my godfather.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I only met him once. It was just a handshake.
Well, he was active in the Methodist Church, and my brother was a Methodist minister that got to know him that way better. But he was, it was really interesting getting to know him.
Mm-hmm.
But I was able. Do you remember Still Store, the data technology, the first big data video floppy disk?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Still Store, the big cabinet with two, and it was what?
Yeah.
IBM? No, someone else. But
It wasn't IBM.
You could get. No, someone else, but they made it. But they were the big floppy disks. No, they weren't floppy. They were solid disks, and you could actually take them out and save them. And it was interesting because I had used some before I went to Alaska, and part of the stuff I did at U of M, I got to know some of the people that worked on Still Store as a theory. But long story short, I had worked with it, and when I was in Alaska, I was able to get the Land Claims College broadcasting people to use Still Store to save a lot of their stuff because they had tons of money, federal grants. And then you could just take this half-hour program on a big floppy. We called them floppies. You could slightly bend them, but
Mm-hmm.
put them in, and just like an old floppy tray, it would come out and you'd sit it in the tray and slide it in. And those were fantastic, and we used them. And I took the principle when I was running the microcomputer development lab at U of M, finding technology uses for the toy computers, this stuff, we were able to use StillStore for storing a bunch of other information and collect data using a Z80 computer, the Radio Shack Model 1.
Mm-hmm.
A little hyped up on memory and all, but in the back seat of a car and using it at Ford, collecting data, telemetry data with a Burr Brown data logger, because that gave me my interface for anything in and write it out to our data storage device.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking one Sunday at church about it, and at that time, Stan, I'll think of his name. He was a VP of Ford. He was also a godfather, but I can't think of his name. I used to go to church when I was a kid. He was the AV person. I didn't know where he worked. But make a long story short, I was talking about, wouldn't it be nice to be able to use this somewhere in the merchant business? And Stan was talking about the problems that they were having. And this was after church there in Dearborn First. That they were having for the price tag swapping in his stores in East Detroit, where it would say dress and have a number, an inventory number that matched at that time, the forerunner of the UPC barcode, but it was a barcode close to what we would call UPC today. And people would come in with these little scissors, and to me they were film snippers for editing, but they're also used for crocheting and all, where it's just two loops and you put it to your hand and you can nip stuff off but hide the scissors. Mm-hmm. Well, they go in with scissors and then have their own price tag that they want. They cut it off one dress for $14, and then they would go over and stick the $7 one the same way, cut it off, and use their little machine to put that plastic piece in. You know, it was T-shaped through the fabric, and then they'd go a checkout. But the checkout people, they were using a forerunner of UPC barcodes, and the registers would read it, and it would just bring the price up. So here's a $14 item, and it says dress on the label, and the cashier is ringing it up for $7 because they swapped them, price tags. And I suggested, wouldn't it be nicer if we had pictures so the cashier could see what was being rung up? You just have to take pictures as they come in, put it on the labeling, and this is this type of dress or that type. So they said, well, let's do it in paper first. If in doubt, they would have it, they printed them out so you could look it up, dress, flip it open like a little book or a newspaper, and see, oh, no, that's not that price is off. Someone switched the tags. Especially men would do it for toolboxes. Mm-hmm. A little fishing box to the mammoth toolbox, and the cashier didn't know the difference.
Right.
So they were able to, when in doubt, the items that were being stolen that way. So I brought up the stuff I played with in Alaska, the StillStore, and he went for it. We set up, he already had a video production company in Tennessee, Kresge did, for Kmart's, and that's where they come out and they produce their they have basically 3 zones of the U.S. on the east and 2 on the west coast that they would buy merchandise for that would sell in that zone. And that's where they had their video center. So we went through and put them all on a StillStore, and StillStore had the ability of just plugging in monitors, right and left. They were straight video out with a video DA. And now the cashier could look up and the number would automatically search and bring up the picture.
How you
It
going,
saved
Sid?
a ton of money,
Yeah.
and he implemented in 9 stores before we could get it automatically with just a central one that they could access online.
Mm-hmm.
That lasted for about 2 years, and then the technology outgrew it.
Yeah. Listen, I got to step away for.
But Stan really liked technology.
I got to step away for a couple minutes.
All
Right
right,
back.
All right.
So I know Robbo's going to watch this back, and Robbo, I'm using this cheap glue because it's a little bit thicker than the stuff you give me. All right, so don't stress out when you watch this back. What do you mean by that, Chris? That's why I typed to you. What? Hey, go on, Mike. Oh, the tree people are all talking now.
You need to post the link.
Yeah, well, besides
That can get
besides
join us.
Chris and Mike, Sid's in the group chat. He can see the link. But there you go.
So what's your day been like, Jay?
I had a really bad sleep last night, and I ended up sleeping in and got up half an hour before I had to start this. So I haven't really done much, to be honest. I've had breakfast and come outside. How about yourself? How about you?
Video stuff that I can use to demonstrate
You froze up.
my friend's new
You froze
tool.
up completely,
I did
there,
this
Dr. Bob, for a second.
It came out pretty good.
Yeah. No, you completely froze up when you first started talking about that. Yeah. What is that? No, can't hear you. I can see your mouth moving, but no voices coming. No, your video is frozen. Someone's stealing your internet, Dr. Bob. No, still can't hear you. How you going, Eva? Oh, come on, Eva. You said you weren't going to come in yesterday and you came in, so come on. Can't hear you, Dr. Bob, at all. Like, nothing. Still can't. Why, did someone tell you off from coming in my live yesterday, Eva? No? Tell them to piss off. Oh, I didn't mean it like that, Dr. Bob. Bloody hell. I'm just trying to get a bit of a preempt strike on this. Just it's got a lot of cracks sticking through, and you can hear the thinness in it after a while where it's cracking, and it's cracked right through. So I've just got to keep an eye on it.
Oh, we lost Bob.
His sound just disappeared completely, and then his video started glitching out. So
Oh.
I'll blame his son. Someone's stealing his bandwidth.
Maybe he's rebooting.
Yeah, he might be. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
There he is.
I don't know what caused it to drop. I just looked up in the midst and I went away. But it was at my end because I got a browser crash.
Oh, yeah.
The error message that came up.
So basically, Chrome couldn't refresh itself, so it shit itself.
Yep. Well, I have noticed by doing this on a tablet, I have to keep track of tabs that are open that it keeps in the background.
Yeah, so I heard you say that yesterday. You had like 80 tabs or something open.
Yeah, and didn't know it. And
You've got to close them when you finish with them, don't you?
well, I do now.
It's not like a computer. It can have cache forever.
And I just got an update on the software for the tablet today, and I ran that.
What kind of tablet do you have?
Oh, I've got a. Drawing a blank. That's the problem of old age. It's an Amazon. It's their big tablet.
Their Kindle.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Or the Fire tablet.
right. I got the big Fire.
Yeah.
And
You got a fire in your land room? Quick, get out!
I got the Fire, and I've got a memory card that gives me all the memory I can stick in it.
Yeah.
I thought you said you were lacking in memory just then.
Yeah, but it's not much. I don't know what's
The
happening.
tablet's doing very, very well.
Yeah.
I've got an iPad, and I have I have a love-hate relationship with Apple products, and
I just have a hate relationship.
so, but I got an iPhone, so having the iPad, they both have the same thing on them, instantaneous, and I do like that. But I always had Android pads, and the thing is with Android, the last few years, it's like they haven't been doing a lot of support of it. They haven't been doing a great job with it, and then the last Android pad I got was a Samsung T250, and that was a $400 tablet. And 6 months after I got it, it started slowing down real bad and everything. And I tried to get customer support, and nobody would talk to me or anything about it. And I went on the forum and found out from somebody leaked on from the inside that they sent out software to slow all their tablets down.
Yep, they do that deliberately to make you buy another one.
Exactly. And then I found out not too long after that, they were coming out with 300 different models a year. And
They actually got taken to court for it too.
yeah. And the marketing team went to the bosses and said, listen, we can't sell these things because the old tablets are working perfectly fine. You gotta stop updating the tablets and stuff. And so they did, and they slowed them down.
You know how I made my tablet speed back up? I set it back to default settings, and I don't allow it to do the updates. Because I've got a Samsung tablet, and I had the same thing. It'd go flat, it would go just slow and really sluggish, and just annoy you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of the problems is that it totally fills up the cache.
Yeah.
And the cache, that's the trick. The cache is not really big enough to sit there and cache some hefty pages. So the latest Android operating system solves a lot of that problems where you can in the system pick how you want to save a document.
Uh-huh.
Or you say I'm watching a TV show on it or a movie, and I can grab and open a notepad and answer phone and do stuff and take notes, close and save the pad, and then come back and pick up the movie where I left off, stuff like that. They're doing now with pointers because I have an online account. So it'll actually back up what I want and keep track of where I'm watching something. They say it's spying. Some people argue that.
Mhm.
But I don't care if they're keeping track of the last 35 to 50 seconds of something on my tablet and then the rest of it to pick up online,
Right.
to buffer it. Because I noticed them doing that a lot. But when it comes to content on pages, they store that on it.
Oh, look out. You're in trouble now.
Oh,
How you going, Robbo?
Weary.
Yeah.
you look tired, my friend.
Been wiring up solar panels to put on the
Right.
top of Bill's truck. Good afternoon, Eva, Mike, probably Chris, Jeff,
Yeah.
Bob.
Huh.
So I'm just finishing off lunch.
Oh, yeah.
So, Mike, it could be, you never know. I'll see how far we go, eh?
Listen here, you young chickie babe, you're getting a bit cheeky.
But one of the tricks I found that the new operating system for the Android tablet, because it's on net, I've got a couple of hard drives that are on the network, or it'll work with Bluetooth too. You can use that to keep track of where you
Ah,
are
geez.
as a secondary cache, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
So I've got an old single terabyte that's on Bluetooth. So it's not super fast, but it'll cache it enough so it'll update.
Oh, good. My iPad has never given me any trouble. I've been perfectly happy with it, more than I had been with my Android tablet. My only big complaint is they have locked memory. You can't add memory to it. You have to buy a whole new tablet.
Yeah.
And that's my one big complaint.
Well, they're stricter on their software.
Mm-hmm.
That is a big thing. They're software gurus that approve Apple software make sure that it cleans cache regularly.
Yep.
And you
Gotta-
can't set aside dedicated storage.
No. So they won't let you slip in a SIM card or anything, or not a SIM card, a memory card or anything.
No.
And supposed to be getting a new update to the iOS next week. And in the update, there's supposed to be a new feature that stops advertisers from being able to trace you and track what you're doing.
Good.
So they're finally listening to people. I think, well, they're probably tired of lawsuits. So
I just miss having a computer.
yeah, there's something to be said about having just a regular old everyday computer as opposed to a tablet.
Yep.
Oh, I'm old fashioned, that's all I've got.
Yeah. Well, this laptop I'm on now, I got it from where I used to work at. They upgraded and sold off a whole bunch of the old ones for $50. So I bought two of them. I got one upstairs to my regular, and This one I use for woodworking, and it's a commercial grade, so it's heavier than hell.
Yeah.
But it's got an all metal frame. I've got a 1 terabyte solid state hard drive in it, 16 gigabytes of memory, which is the maximum it'll go. But it's a great laptop. I love it.
Yeah, and if you have a terabyte of memory, should be able to spool that back to make that cache,
Yeah.
dynamic cache, so it happens and disappears when you don't need it.
Right.
Yeah,
What I'm
good
doing
on you.
right now is, since I've taken over as president, I have been, and we've been doing Zoom meetings. I have been recording all the Zoom meetings and all the workshops and putting them on YouTube. Well, I was talking to the guys the other day in the board meeting, and I said, it's filling up my computer because, an average meeting is about 4 gigabytes. And so I says, I want it off my computer because I've only got about 20 gigabytes left. And so they gave me the okay to get a external hard drive. So I just got a 8 terabyte for $106 from Costco.
Wow.
Yeah. So
That's a good price.
yeah, and I got everything moved over, and I'm trying to figure out a way that I'm going to feel secure that everything is there and it's going to stay there, that I can take everything off my computer. Because I'm trying to do it without having to spend any money on storage or anything.
Online storage.
Interrupt for a second. Yeah, I run 8 terabyte hard drive as well. Good day, Effie and Mike. Yeah, some of the old hammers look really, really cool, don't they? Right.
So why am I not seeing people like Effie and stuff here?
It's
Hey, go
Sorry.
on, Effie.
Are you in the which one are you on? Facebook or
I'm on
Yeah.
the stream.
yeah, YouTube?
I can see them in the stream chat.
Yeah, I'm just running off. I'm just on StreamYard chat as well.
Yeah.
and I can't get it because my tablet doesn't have the memory to have chat. I can see it if I want to post, but I don't know. I just had. Let me see. There's an update here.
So with that 8 terabyte drive that you've got, Robbo,
Yeah,
did you ever run Windows 8 with it?
it used to run on Windows 8, but it's just I just use it as a storage thing.
Yeah, I was about to say that Windows 8 doesn't recognize anything over 2 terabyte.
Yeah, no. Well, it's just a storage disk that I use. It's all to back up all my accounting stuff and stuff.
I got a 4 terabyte drive in my computer that I built about 6 or 7 years ago, and Windows 8 doesn't recognize anything over 2 terabytes. So it's like, you got to be kidding me. I mean, I could update it to 10, but I'm lazy, you know.
We just lost Bob again.
Yeah, he's having lag issues.
Yeah.
I suggested that maybe he goes and checks to see which one of his kids is on the internet.
Are you finished those bottles of super glue, Jay?
Nah, I needed something that was a little bit thicker.
Oh, right.
That's all. Because I wasn't too sure if you were coming in today, so I said just for when you watch this back, Robbo, I'm using this because it's a little bit thicker, so don't worry.
I thought you must have been drinking this stuff.
Nah, I was told to cut down on it because it was making me sick, you know.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's probably true.
Yeah.
I won't be in for too long. I've got to finish off doing these things. Otherwise, Bill gets hostile with me. Sitting in the background there nodding while he's eating an orange.
How you going, Sarge?
G'day, Sarge.
What's going on there, Dr. Bob?
Howdy. Well, I
Hey,
found when I go to chat, that's fine. I can see all the chat. When I say it says exit chat, it exits it out totally.
Huh.
Oh, so you did a Cade. Ah.
Yeah, he's had that problem.
Hey, Jay,
Yeah.
you're not having any problems with fumes, are you?
Phew.
You're putting a lot out there.
Yeah, it's a little bit pongy, but it's
Yeah.
not. That's why I'm taking it in slow,
Yeah, just take it easy.
small amounts.
Well, we know it's dangerous. Why don't you just turn around and do it outside?
Because it's raining.
Oh,
He said it was cold there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, by our definition, it's cold.
Yeah, right.
It's,
Yes.
it's under 20 degrees. It's cold.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. It's not summer. It's cold. So I thought I'd go with some white dust instead
Yeah.
of
Uh-huh.
popping today.
It's a nice contrast.
Yeah,
Robbo
I
hasn't
took
said anything. I know what he's thinking in his head. What'd you do that for?
on my
Oh.
Facebook page is a picture of the snow we got here. It wasn't enough to shovel, but it was enough to make a mess on the sidewalks.
Yep.
And like I said, we got nothing here in Troy.
Yeah.
Not yeah.
Well,
I mean,
we're closer to the lake.
Yeah. Yeah.
The birds will come to say hello.
Yeah, the farther south you were, the more snow you got.
No, my nostrils aren't glued together either, so I'm not cold by your definition yet. But I do have my thermals on, so it's cold.
Yeah, me too, actually.
When you get your other lathe, you're going to need 2 heaters then.
I'll get a diesel heater.
Oh, how can you stand the smell?
No, they don't smell. If you exhaust them outside, which you're supposed to do anyway.
That's what I was going to do. I was going to have the exhaust. I was going to have all the unit and everything, like up against the wall there, and drill a hole through there, and have the heat pump through there, go into the other shed. You know?
So your lovely gets all the, when she's in there, she gets all the smell
Yeah.
and none of the heat.
Shh! Don't tell
Yes,
anyone.
You
Yeah,
need
so
to
you
have
got-
it so you can switch between them, which duck gets it.
Hell no.
50.
That's my life, man. You can have this one.
You gotta put up with her during the day and particularly at night unless you want to end up on the floor.
Oh no! We've already got that one covered. To be honest, we very rarely sleep in the same bed because she snores, and I have a neurological condition, so I shape the bed. So she has a bed in one room, and I have a bed in the other room, and our relationship is beautiful.
Yeah, and that's actually so common anymore that we're seeing here in America, a lot of new houses are being built with 2 master suites, one for the man, one for the woman.
Yep.
They
Yeah.
share the common bath, the big
Yep.
bath and the dressing room.
Yeah,
No, we're not weird either. It's just that we don't just get it. We just don't get as cold as what you lot get over there. So our bodies, we adapt to what we have.
your blood is thinner, as they used to say.
Yeah, well, I don't know, but it used to amuse us that when the temperature was 16 or 17 degrees, you'd go down the beach and all the palms are swimming, you know, and we're rugged up in coats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I used to back when in my late teens, early 20s, I used to be a scuba diver, and I used to dive shipwrecks around the Great Lakes. And the Great Lakes are cold water.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what my partner and I used to do is as soon as the ice melted on the lakes, we were in the lakes diving and getting our bodies used to that, because you could be on the surface like Lake Superior is the worst. You could be on the surface and freezing. You go down 30 feet and it's even colder. You know? And my buddy, he had a wetsuit. You know, I had a wetsuit, but whenever I dove in Lake Superior, I wore a dry suit. And that's the only way I could stay down for maybe 20 minutes. It was just so cold. But yeah, as soon as the ice melted, we started practicing and getting our bodies used to it. And that was just oh so miserable.
Yeah.
Now Lake Huron was like bathwater. So I hardly ever even wore a wetsuit when I went into Lake Huron.
Yeah, I always enjoyed with my Hobie cat on Huron.
Yeah.
I
And
love
Lake-
that thing.
In Lake Huron on the Canadian side, you could surf. The waves were so big.
And back then, no one cared if you were on that side surfing.
No, they didn't.
I mean, they didn't care if you were U.S. or Canadian.
Well, I had long hair, so I always got my van inspected. They always went looking through my van every single time. And matter of fact, I pulled in at one point in time, and we were in line for the booth, and I saw one of the inspectors, and I rolled down my window and I hollered to him, and he came over. He says, "What can I do for you?" I says, "We've been in Canada for the week. We're coming back to America. We're American citizens." I says, "You want me to pull over there so you can look at my van?" He goes, "Yep."
No, we don't. I don't drink, but my blood's probably thinner anyway. But and Chris said that's crazy. I understand a medical condition or snoring, but sleeping apart for convenience is sad.
Well, if it affects the relationship, then it works out better. Trust me.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Well, you know, a lot of seniors get to a point where they sleep apart for that reason, because of
Yep.
snoring and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I was a horrible snorer until I started wearing a CPAP, and that eliminated that altogether.
Oh,
And it's
yeah,
the
it does.
Best sleep I get at night too is with the CPAP.
What are you saying, Chris? You'd rather get a divorce than just go into another room?
It's a lot cheaper to go
course-
into another room.
And of course, Eva has raised the obvious question here. When you have sex, if you sleep in different rooms, you don't need a bedroom to have sex, Eva. Haven't you worked that out?
Yeah, you got a kitchen bench, you got a lounge room table, you know,
Yeah.
heaps of places. You could go to the park bench if you really wanted to.
Might get arrested, though.
You know, my
I don't
buddy
know.
growing up, him and I used to always go out to his grandparents' house. They lived down the street from his mom. And, you know, it was a nightly thing. We went out there and his grandparents were always sitting at the table and having a smoke, and we'd pour a drink and we'd sit and chat with them and everything almost every single night. And we had one night we went there and they weren't anywhere to be found. So we just flipped on the TV. We figured they're out doing chores and stuff. Well, after about 15 minutes, you know, the grandfather's door opened up and the grandmother came out. We went, "Oh, you still do that at that age, man?"
Dude, that made everyone go quiet, didn't it?
It's all right.
Yeah.
I'm doing some work as well.
Oh, yeah.
Where the hell's it?
It's over there. It's behind you.
No, it's not.
It's in Bill's truck. How long are you sticking around for, Robbo?
About another 5 minutes. That's it.
All right. Well, I may actually just knock it on the head then, because my lunch is ready, and
Oh yeah.
there's better things that people can be doing than watching me glue. I'm sure there is.
I don't know. I'm totally excited. I'm having a great time.
Yeah.
Yeah, then you smell it then.
This is where I wish when you have something like that, this is where I wish Parfix had a medium rather than just a thin.
Yeah.
I should say odorless. The 3408 is odorless,
Okay.
Yeah.
and but it's only in super thin.
Yeah. I required something a little bit thicker today.
Yeah, those some pretty big cracks. They were canyons.
Well, thanks. They're put there by nature, but thanks.
Yeah, well, nature does her thing, whether you like it or not.
That's why they say Mother Nature.
Yeah, she's a mother.
Yep, and you know how women are. They have the perfect right to change their mind, their pattern,
right.
their dress. Doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Bob, do you remember Ollie Freder?
Yes.
All right.
Remember he used to do "Don't Mess with Mother Nature"?
Yeah.
That was an appliance salesman here in town. He died many, many years ago. Freder Appliance, but he used to do these crazy commercials. He had
Oh,
one-
yeah. Ollie's.
Yeah. Him and Mr. Belvedere. Mr. Belvedere, who wasn't really Mr. Belvedere. He was the PR guy. Mr. Belvedere was a woman.
Yes, I'd heard that. And I've seen Mr. Belvedere in Virginia, in the local stations there, and it's different than the ones that were here or in
Yeah.
Seattle.
Yeah. Virginia, he was an appliance store.
Yeah.
All right. I gotta go, folks. I'll catch you later.
Good seeing
Yeah.
you, Robbo. Take care of yourself, my friend.
All right.
well,
I'm gonna go.
See ya.
Thanks for coming in. Take it easy. Give Bill shit. Bill shit. All right. No, he's gone.
Boy, when he leaves, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yep.
Uh,
All right. I'm gonna run away now. I've got my lunch call, and it's only getting
Okay.
colder here on in.
okay. Well, enjoy your lunch.
Well,
my friend.
I can always get a hold of Jeff during the day if he's free.
That's the
So-
trick. I'm supposed to be retired. I haven't figured that out yet. So
Ask Robbo. I think it took him nearly 20 years to retire fully.
I don't know. He sure doesn't seem retired to me.
Yep.
'Cause he can't say no to his friends, you see.
Well, I was telling Jay when we first started, tomorrow is production pen day. I'm making up all those pens for my contractor. So all the stuff came in, and I was telling him, he wanted all Michigan woods. And I said, no problem. I got Michigan woods like crazy, right? Couldn't find a damn one. Everything was exotic. So I did a lot. I spent about 2 hours digging. So, but I come up with 7 species, so he ought to be happy.
Yep. Well,
That's
let
nice.
me know what's going on.
Okay.
And, be glad to spread the news. Friday,
Okay.
I got someone that wants to help me get a VA pension, so I've got to go talk to him about that Friday morning.
Yeah, that's an important one. You got to take care of that.
Yep.
I suspect Friday will know. I suspect Friday, Don and Chuck will make a decision, and if it's not Sunday, it may be the following